G'day, how you doing? I'm Ianapolis, your acrylic guru from Australia. Welcome to my YouTube channel here. This is where I teach beginners how to paint effective and doable scenes in acrylic. Just want to get some sizes on my canvas before we get started, and I'll also get some colours running up the screen. Now this one's going to be kind of a distant mountain in the background, but an Australian looking mountain this time. The ones we get in Australia, those sort of bluey green, eucalyptusy distant colours. All right, and it's just going to be in the background from a lake with some beautiful reflections in the water, and it's going to be one of those paintings like, oh wow, I like that. That is full of bullshit. Great stuff ready to happen today, okay? So I've even been practicing as well because I had to mix a few colours for this, but once you get these in your head, the cogs going in your head which way to do them, you do them more often, you won't forget, okay? So let's get on over here and let's get right into it, all right? Come on. Okay, my horizon line's going to be higher than the middle half, okay? And I want to get some craft paint. First, I'm just going to primer up the top half of the sky. So I'm just going to use that. No retarder in this one because there's not an overly lot of clouds. This is just to primer up the sky area there. So I'll get to me, where's my horizon, about there. I'll just get all my sky mapped in first, so as I'm not going to get too confused wondering where I am. I'll just do the sky first and then I'll bring things forward as I come forward to the painting. Right, let me just get all this nicely brush stroke now, just simply like that, right across the canvas. I've just wiped that brush, I haven't washed it, and I'm picking up some cerulean blue for my sky colour because I think a cerulean blue is a wonderful, true looking sky colour. And this is very pale sky, coming down to pretty much white at the bottom. So I'm going to crisscross it all into that white, and see that white's helping this slide across the canvas, that craft paint. Beautiful, get it all in there. Now what I'm doing is I'm just crisscrossing it and mashing it to the flavour that I want, which is pretty much there. Then I will start using the tip of the brush and ironing it out, making it nice and smooth for a simple, realistic sky. I would like the horizon area a bit lighter in value though. So I've just wiped the brush and I'm picking up some more of that craft paint, and I'll start from here, put it on, put it into it, putting it into it. Okay, now I'm going to start pushing it up into the sky like that. Beautiful, beautiful, look at that, love it. Now if you really want to get fangly dangly with your colours and values, you can put a slight bit of red in there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Alright, I've got some permanent alizarin here and I'm going to mix it with that blue just to get a dark cloudy colour there, a bit of a grey colour there, okay? So I want to mix that with the leftover blue there, load that up, and I might be able to even blend them with this fan brush as well. And I just want to stamp in some top clouds, get some more on there. I might need more, goodness golly. Blend it. I'm gonna use this brush and mash them in as I go because there's no retarder in this, but I still got time to do it because that craft paint is helping the paint stay rubbery and a little bit wetter. So if anything, I'm doing these long ways. I'm just adding them on, just putting some of that stuff way up high in the sky there, like we get in Australia certain times of the day. There we go, just all around there like that. Now I'm just going to detail it off with certain brush strokes just to get it to the flavour that I want. If anything, the top's scrumbled in darker. Okay. This is more of Australian flavour landscape. Now I want to mix up my distant mountain colour. I've got French ultramarine blue there, and we'll put a little bit of permanent alizarin with that to get our purple colour. Just a little bit of that. And some raw sienna. And this will be the base for the mountain. All right. Sort of a grey, but it's a purpley grey. It's grey a bit. Okay, now I'm going to use a flat filbert, and I just want to map in the soft shape of my mountain. And the mountains, where's my horizon? My horizon's about there. You want your mountain to have nice subtle shapes. I'm just going to come across like this and bring it down. Okay, that'll do. That's a good enough shape. You don't want nothing too jaggedy. We don't get them in Australia here. This is for the Australian look. And just brush this in. And then I'll detail the edges. I won't detail them, but I'll just map them in a lot softer. I mean, neater than what they are there. Because you want this reasonable. And this is just going to be the blocking in stage of our mountain out there, okay? Okay, I'm just going to pick up some of this white here, just to add some underlining mist. Just pretty much along the bottom here. Scrub some of this in. Okay, there we go. All right, now I want to mix up my distant green. So I've got some, you know, with the hue, the atmosphere between it. So I've got some blue here, a little bit of blue, and some raw sienna again. I'm going to mix up enough. Put some white in there. Now it's got to be very pale green, and just add, get a bit more of that white. Just a little bit of blue. A little bit more white. Now I want to add just a little bit of vermilion green, whatever they call it. And we want to find that light colour value. There we go. This is all about mixing this one, but sometimes you've got to learn to mix to advance in your art journey. See that green right there? That's like the distant green. Okay, now I've got a round hog bristle brush, and I've cleaned it, but you want to get it dirty with some paint, okay? Just get it with some paint and then wipe it clean so you can get a chiseled edge on it. Now, my good friend Len Hen taught me this idea, and silly me, I've gone and added some red onto that, and I don't want red in it. So you chisel the edge, okay, like that. The paint helps it be chiseled, see that? And then what you do, you got this colour on there, but we'll put a bit of that on one side of the brush, okay, the grey, the dark colour, and then we get this colour here. Then we just want, see your edge, you want to go just a little bit above that, and I'll tilt the brush if I need more light or darks, okay, and that dark's going to act as your shadow underneath your trees there. And now I don't know if this brush is going to be too big. We'll find out as I go. So I want to just go along little umbrella shapes. I've got to get that. I'm going to wipe that brush and start again because it's just not conditioned enough. So we'll go again. Pick up the light on one side and the dark on the other. And then we'll start getting these little Australian-like trees in there. Dab them down in all different shapes. Okay. Go again. Yeah, now years ago when I used to watch Len Hen, he's done this method quite a lot. Pick up more dark and light. And it's quite effective for these distant mountains. Dab them on, dab them on. And sometimes you can, like he said, dab in a paddock or brush in a bit of a paddock in the distant mountain there, just like so. Come over here. See, I'm going a bit above there, and then you want to cover in those darks with these trees. And then just stamp in the bottom to create the mist. Okay, just pull your brush again with a paper towel and reload it, lights on one side and the dark on the other side. Oh, where's the light? There we go. I've got to turn the brush. And you're just pretty much making all those gum trees out there in the distance, the way they look in Australian landscapes. You need the darks. If you haven't got the darks there, like I just had there, it wasn't enough darks. And we're just making rows of trees. Alright, I'm going to just wipe that brush. Now I'm going to grab the raw sienna and I'm going to get some more of this and some white. A bit more. So we've got a different tone out there, different value, and we can highlight some of that. And it's not dry yet. I wonder if I need to dry. I want to find the little ridges and come down where I feel it needs this ridging highlighted colour coming down the mountain. Yes, that's looking a bit better. Grab a bit more, come down the other side. We're a bit dark in there, so I'll sort of come down this side with it. That's looking okay. It's just a distant, it's a detailed but distant mountain, okay? That's what I'm going for here. Detailed, distant mountain. I hope I'm talking loud enough. Sometimes when my camera comes close, I feel like I've got to whisper. So I'll try and talk louder when the camera comes close. Any mistakes I'm finding, I'm just sort of dabbing over with this as well, that I feel. So I'm just going to get this brush and pull like a paddock up here now if I can. Getting some of the lighter green in it as well. And there we go. Yeah, that's better. Because this will be sunken back with what I'm about to put in front of it. So I'll just get at least some kind of, because some of our hills here, they have paddocks in them. So we'll get this paint and we'll set that down with some bigger trees. There we go. Get the dark there. Go over the edge, that's it. Come from up there, coming down. Get some up there. Okay, just finishing it off with the lightest detail now. I've just got that lighter colour highlighting that bunch of trees if I can, and maybe some all the way down here somewhere as well. Little umbrella shapes, leaving the dark shadows there. There we go. Beautiful Australian looking mountain. I'll get something here. All right, I'm just going to scrape anything from my horizon line that might be a bit too thick. And I'll give it a quick dry just down there so I can start the bottom half of the painting. Now I've got more craft paint, white, and my putter on a brush, and we're going to map in the bottom half. So let's get that somewhere about there like so. Map all this in white. And then get it to our height we want, which is somewhere around there. Now while I've got the water here, this is pretty much the water. I'm going to paint the water in and then we'll detail this. So my sky was cerulean blue. I'm going to put this in areas of the water. And pretty much all the foreground is a darker blue, but I want to have a band of lighter colours in there as well of the water. So get that up there, and mainly across here as well is push this in over there. Beautiful. And I will add titanium white out of the tube to get the whiter glare that I'm looking for in the water. I just wiped that brush and I'm picking up titanium white on both sides because I want some white in there now. Pretty much here. I don't want that craft paint to be the white. I want to put some quality in this because I want to be able to sell this painting. There we go. I'm going to pick up some more of the blue. Get some more of that radiating out there like so, and maybe up there. Beautiful. And I'll crisscross that into that lighter band of water. Now I've given this a light dry and I want to get some bullshit reflection ripples in this water. And the simplest way to go about that, I've got me white tainted with some blue, and I've got the blue, okay? So we're pretty much coming from the white colour, okay? Oh, so it's got to be a bit more blue because it's too white. We've got to go from this white tone, where are we? And then start scalloping them here and there into the blue, just like scallops like that if you can. And then we'll grab that blue flavour and then we reverse that into the white. I'll do this area here just so you get an idea what I'm on about. Just mainly all near the edge there, get the edge of it. See where the blue is? Ripple it up with the white. Then we'll get the blue colour, and we want to get that, so long as it's not too dark. And we want to start transferring that gently into the white area from the blue. So we're just backwards and forwards with each side of the colour. They are a bit on the dark side, but then you can tell we're getting that reflections in the water. I'm just softening them down a bit. So I'm going to do that just over here a bit as well. Just getting some over here. Now I've gone and swapped brushes because I've just gone and got a soft liner one now because I tried this one out and it seemed to be a little bit more, I can get in more in straight lines. So now I want to bring this blue colour scalloped here and there, little lines in the lighter half of the water, okay? There we go. Okay, I'll grab my bullshit stick. Now I've just added some of the French ultramarine to that blue mix, just so out here I can get a darker value of that blue light band going across the water out here. So I'm just frigging around out here and I'm using my bullshit stick to keep them nice and straight. Okay. All right, now I want to put this band of trees across here, and I've got me alizarin crimson and the ultramarine blue, French ultramarine blue, and I want to mix up a dark purple, okay? More on the bluey side. Let's put a little bit of white just to see what colour it's turning. Yeah, we're getting on the bluey side of purple. And this is out on a lake. You can't see the reflection here because we're not close to it, we're far away. So there's going to be no reflections in the water. And to make it aesthetically pleasing, I hope that's the right word, we're going to come down in the water a bit. And if anything, we want to sort of come up higher off the edge of the painting. So these are just like my old mate Len Hen shown in some of his videos years ago when I was watching him. They're just up and down like this. I'll get a ton of that on the side of my board here so I can keep using it. And this is just up and down, up and down, up and down and come right off the painting there. So we'll keep going all the way along now. Just in front of that mountain. I've dried it. You want to make sure it's dry. I mean, you can even use a flat brush and your bullshit stick, get some of the paint, I've wet it, and at least get that bottom line in where you want it, just so as we're not having to use masking tape, because sometimes tape's just no good for when you're going for that realistic look, I feel. There we go, somewhere there. And I like that little paddock there, so I'm not going to cover that up too much with foreground trees. And see here how I'm coming now. I don't want this to be too smooth. I want it periodically poking up, just like that, poking up just like that. Because sometimes I've seen people do renditions and their outside lines are just too sharp. So if anything, up there. And now once I've done this, I want to dry this colour and we'll add the highlights. Now I've got some forest green. I'm just wetting it a bit with the brush, just so it's transferable. Now I just want to gradually, minimally, put a little bit of yellow into that. Just got a Relamide yellow here, light. Just so as that green's going to be standing out a little bit. And I want everything facing inwards, so I'm going to start from, say, here, go a little bit above that, and then bring it all into the middle, just for the art's sake, and leave the very bottom dark. Okay, I'll come from the centre, bringing bits, just lightly touch it, leave a lot of the darks in there. Now, before I subtly highlight that, I want to make out that there's life, there's building, there's tree trunks, or there's something within there, okay? And a little trick I learnt off the old Guy Len hen. I'm going to mix up the colour first. So I'm using just raw sienna and some white just to get the value that I want. And then I want to wipe the knife after I've mixed it, and I'll show you this little trick. And it's something you can learn. It's great even doing different colours. Pull it out like a sheet. It's important. Okay, pull it out like an even sheet. Now wipe the knife. Okay, I've wiped the knife. Now I want to pick up the neatest bit I can on here, the ridge of paint. Okay. And I want to put a line here. And another one. Get them the distance you want. Just like this, we're putting lines down with the paint. With the knife, sorry. Now practice this. I mean, this is the first time I'm doing it, but I saw Len doing it, and he made out there was a lot of buildings using red, white, blues, and white creams and all that. So we're pretty much doing this. You made a row of paint like that. Now you got to wipe the brush again. Not the brush, the knife. Wipe it. And then see how we got like little teeth on there? And I want to gently, where are we? Just keep them straight. Bits of stuff just broken up in there. Pick up some more. Oh no, wipe the knife and pick up some more again. Otherwise, you'll have stuff everywhere. This could be like tree trunks out there. It's just something before I highlight it. Wipe the knife, and we'll put a bit out here as well. Not everywhere, just wipe the knife. Now when you do it, Don't slide your knife through it like that, like you normally do, because you'll get a line, and that's no good. You want to put it on there, and if anything, move the direction of the line so they come off like dots. And we'll just put something lightly out here as well. Now you can do this with different colours. But hats off for Len Hen for showing me that trick many years ago. Okay, back to our paint here. Now we want to grab that yellow and make a more noticeable highlight of that. Wet it a little bit so we got some good transferring happening. What I mean by that is it comes off your brush and onto the canvas without having to press too heavy. And in doing your reflections, you want to kind of sit that down as well. So I've given it a dry. Now you don't want to go everywhere with this. I'm just going to go very lightly, and then I'm going to come in between that. Hopefully I dried that enough, and I'm going to sit those lighter browns, this raw sienna that I knifed on there, I want to kind of sit it in there as well. And like I did with the other colour, everything's bowing into the middle. All right. So we're just lightly coming down to those creamy colours. I did put some of the darker green back in front of those, just so as I can sit this lighter green on top of the darker green. Because if it's not sitting on dark, it's going to look like it's floating. It's going to look wrong. It's going to look like a woman put a foundation on and forgot to put the eyeliner on. It's just going to look wrong. See how I'm kind of making bigger umbrella shapes out of all these little umbrella shapes? That's the method in my mind as I'm doing them. I don't want to do them all even like they're made from a pattern machine. You want to do them the way nature intends things to be seen in the wild, you know. Well, it's okay for the painting. It looks all right. Now that's pretty much our trees there, but I will, for the art's sake, get a little bit more brighter yellow into that green, so we get more of a brighter yellow green, and just little bits here and there, put some of this one in, okay? So work out, because the sun's way up overhead, so we'll work out where we can kind of put some of this stuff. Nice, see how soft I'm touching it? And try and sink some of them down a bit more, those creamy coloured knife marks we put in there. We just want to make it look like the sun's highlighting some higher values in these tree ranges here. So I'm just here and there. Okay. Now you can see that's pretty much it. But those dots have kind of added some element of realism within those row of trees, okay? All right, now this raw sienna that we added the white, I've got the Viridian green, okay? And I want to add some of this to get like a grey, dark green. I can add some blue, pick up some blue over there if I can, just to get it dark as well. So I want like a greeny grey, but dark. There we go, let's try a little bit of red in there. Okay, and this is just going to be like, we're already on a hill looking down. This is going to be just like a fence going down into the water. So we'll get these the colour we want. I think I want it a bit darker than that. That looks a bit too greeny grey. Now I've added more red to the mix, so I want this to sort of come into about there, and we'll probably have one just here on an angle. Boom. Get another one probably about here, a little bit higher than him and a little bit lower than him, and maybe a little bit fatter than him, but not too much fat. Try and work out the size. This one might have to be taller. Get one about here. I'm just using a long brush, like a liner, like a big fat liner, and the paint's wet quite substantially, not too much though where it becomes see-through. And we'll put one more right about here, a little bit higher than that one, and this one's in the water as well. And I want to start this off the water like that. Beautiful, because the reflections are what's going to make this look so real as well. Okay, now these are just like, I don't know, maybe old cobber logs or something, the old pine, treated pine round logs you get everywhere. A lot of these in Australia. And I've got to bring that one up a bit higher, because see, it's not in perspective, just looks wrong. So I'll get this one a bit higher. There we go. That way they're all tapering down from each other, from the top and the bottom side of these posts. Okay, we'll get that in there like that. All right, now I want to join up some of them, so we'll pretty much come, that's from that far from the top, so he's coming into that one. I'll get the first one done, and that'll govern the width that I've got to go by the next ones. And they can be crooked as well, so they're about that far from the top. This one might have a bit of a bend in it just to be rickety rackety. There we go. And we'll probably put this one right on an angle down there. This one's all broken and bent and sunken in. And something here. Get another one. Nice and fat here. Now we'll put the reflections in the water. We want to get a bit of, see, that's on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to put its reflection on a bit of an angle, and I'm going to just pull it down in a manner like that so it can be distorted at the very distant end of the reflection. I always feel the distance, that's the distance, this is where the reflection's starting, where it's meeting the water. So as you come down, this reflection way down there can be obscured and blurred and looking like that. So he's on a bit more of an angle. It's fun to do them on an angle. So we're going to keep it sharp. That's about it. And then let it blur up. Sometimes they're full solid, but I just, for the art's sake, I like to change things up a bit. Simple. We do have that pole, so we need his reflection in there. So we'll kind of go gingerly along, try and keep it the same thickness, but I'm kind of distorting it, making it look water reflection-y. Get it in there. And we'll probably get something in here as well. Where's one gone? That was, so this one's a bit closer to the surface of the water, this one. Push it on with your brush, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to grab some white and add to that, just to give it some kind of, put a bit of green in that white as well. Here we go. We've just got a bit of a mossy, hopefully it's going to look mossy. All right, I've dried that. Now I want to, because while I dried it, I want this sort of scratchy, not big and thick. See, this is that pole. It's going into that post. We'll get the top of it. See, it's still very solid. I want it sort of broken up. But don't come past this point here, because it's behind there, okay? Same with this one there. We'll get this sort of rounded, going into that post there. And scratching all this on there, but not coming past that line there, otherwise it would look wrong. We can bring this around, just try and get some try not to get those stop-start strokes in it. Go like this all the way down, and we'll try and get some kind of, leave the top dark, there we go. And we want to do the same here. So we sort of leave the top, come around there, come all the way down there, and getting some moss on there. See, we're going into the post, So it gives it that dimension all the way down that edge. That's the reflection there. Okay, what I was saying about reflections before, grab that paint and you just want the smallest scallops coming from that in the water. Now you don't have to do this, but in the water side of the reflection, you do this, and it just gives it that ripple look on top of the water surface there. Just radiate it out a little bit, not too much. Okay, just about finished. We'll put something on here just to finish it off. So I've got some burn umber. I'm using a flat brush because I want to control a flat side, and a little bit of black in there as well. Not too much black, just enough to make it blacky brown. And then over here, we'll put maybe something where we've got enough room to create a reflection, because the reflections in the foreground is what this is all about as well. So I might put something pretty much here, there. That's the rock. Okay. How's that looking? Yep. And then we'll just see if we can pull it down to the shape of the top of the rock. Okay. Pull it down. Something like that. This is just subject matter I want to add to the painting to finish it off. Get the bottom of it flat. About there. About there. And the same again, replicate his shape just by pulling down into the water. Okay, there we go. All right, now I've got some of the raw sienna dark and probably a bit of this lighter colour mixed with it. And we'll try some of that with there, see what that does. Oh yeah, because you don't want your highlights too bright. You'll just turn those beautiful rocks into snot. All right, so there's a subtle amount there. And let's try and get scratchiness happening to the tops of our rocks, because that colour we just put on was the base colour. So we're gonna kind of come around, let it all dingle dangle. Where it's hitting the water, you want to keep that dark, okay? Get the top of it mainly highlighted and just dingle dangle it any old way, just like that. And then you can scratch that down, but leaving the dark between this and the rock. You got me? Here, you got to leave that dark there. You pretty much want it dry, so you'd like dry scrumbling type of thing, just trying to get that rock look. Now if you have a better way to do a rock, do it your way. I'm just showing you the only way I can do it. And we're going to pull that aspect down into the reflection as well. There we go. Okay, I'm just adding the slightest bit of white now to there. And just pretend I'm feeling arty and like easy, easy. There we go. Look at that. Just scratch some light highlights on there. Using a knife or a brush. I've used a brush. Get some of the to replicate in the shadow there. There we go. And the same to this little one here. Oh, that's a bit thick there. Just pulling it down. There we go. All right, now I'm going to get some titanium white and mix with some glaze, just so as I can sink some reflections down, and that's it. We can whack a frame on this and see how beautiful it looks in a frame. So I want I'll just come off the painting. I'm following the shape of the rock because the rock's got corners to it, you see? Boom. Does that kind of put a, yeah. Something to this one as well, so it's coming around. We can put the slightest line going across here as well, sinking all this fence down, all the reflections there, sinking, rubbing it across the reflections of the fence. That kind of puts them underwater. Just some ripple lines. Where's that? That one's finishing about there, so that can go about there. And then we'll do the same with these rock reflections as well. We'll just bring some of this level, but out here, sinking some of them down as well. You want them nice and straight or level. I don't know why, but I'm just feeling I need a dead log that was once a tree, probably sticking out the water. Where can I have it? I want to reflect, so I'll probably do it about here somewhere. Somewhere there. I'll do the gist of it. Let's say there. I want it nice and angled so I can get a distinct reflection for it. That's why I'm doing it on an angle. That's the gist of it. Now I've got to get the water, where it's in the water, nice and level there. And this is just broken butts. The butts of it are just broken like that. It's just got bits that are broken. Don't make it too detailed because you've got to reflection this. You've got to reflectionize it into the water, okay? So we're going to come this way. This can be all blurry and wobbly and whatever you want it to be, and just so it's distinctively reflected in the water there. All right, I detailed that as much as it needs to be, and back with some of that glaze and that white as well. We'll just use that to sink that shadow down as well, reflection. It doesn't need it much, but I just want to, where I put these lines here, I'll get it roughly where it's joining on the water there, and we'll kind of pull it out like that. Scallop it a bit beyond. Just so it's under the water there. Too easy, eh? Okay, let's whack a frame on that and see how it looks. There you go, that's not too shabby, is it? We've got some beautiful additives in the front foreground there. Got a mountain, Australian style looking mountain in the distance there. And just all over, not a bad looking painting. And just remember, you can do that. Alright, make sure you look at the links in the description below. There's over 360 videos in my catalogue here with so many different subjects for you beginners to learn. Message me on Facebook if you want to buy one of my tutorial paintings or a print of one of my tutorial paintings, alright? And if you do like what you see here, you be sure you tell your friends. But if you don't like it, you tell everybody, alright? Goodbye, good luck, and good on ya.